Welcome to the 3Gs, the podcast where we dive into the world of fitness from three unique angles on three generations as we bridge the generation gap, explore diverse perspectives, and unravel the secrets of staying fit. So welcome everybody. We're here as the 3Gs, the three generations, and today's a special day. You know, well, every time we have a guest, it's a special day, but on our table today is our usual cast.
My name is Cisco. I'm Coach Cisco's been in the game for 15 years, going on 16. I represent for the millennials, running in. All the way to the left, I'm going to hand it to
Kael.
KT, Coach Kael in the house, 7 years in the fitness industry. I represent the Zillennials. I'm a little bit on the cusp, so I relate to both millennials and Gen Z.
You Gen Z.
Nah.
You're Gen Z.
Nah. We can have a whole podcast.
You're Gen Z.
Yes, 100%.
Stay in your lane.
100% relate to you, Warren.
Yes, you do, but still.
And we got a special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure.
What about me?
And we have, representing our boomers in the middle.
The reason I say that is because there's a big gap. Okay, there's a big gap between millennial and Z. Okay,
And what's that gap?
nothing but the baby boomer.
Nice, and that's who you are.
50 years, 67. So I'm the gap that's in between.
There
Yes.
No, you're the gap that's above.
I'm the gap that's above. You're right.
Yeah.
Cisco's the bridge.
I'm the bridge.
Oh, you're the bridge. Okay, I'm the above, way above.
Yes.
All right.
So Coach Mike in the house. And then today, like how Kael was saying, we do have a special guest, very dear and near to my heart. But first of all, introduce yourself.
So my name is Megan, and I am one of Cisco's clients. I don't know where I'd fit in the gap. Between the two of you, for sure. I don't know which one I'm closer to.
Aren't you a baby boomer?
I'm 48. I'm almost 49. I don't know where that was.
I don't know what a baby boomer is. What?
That's Gen
I'm
X.
not a baby boomer.
What's your
We'll
years?
take that back.
What's your years?
She's Gen X.
Okay. All right,
I'm
yeah.
Stan, 48.
Yeah.
What's your birthday?
75.
Oh, 75.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't remember what's there and what's there. You know, all I know is I'm up there.
No
You
offense.
know.
No offense. Yeah.
But yeah. You know.
48 years old, right?
Yes.
Hey.
But this is
49?
49 in June.
See,
Oh.
she's in her own cup. She's a Zillennial.
Oh, okay.
Gen X, yes.
But you're real close to baby boomer. You do know that.
It's millennials and Gen X.
Let's just keep it where it is.
Mike's trying to find a friend.
I'm trying to find someone to join my group. That's what I'm trying to do. But all in all, this is a special day because we happen to have Megan's trainer and coach here, so we get to pick two brains today.
No.
Well, and
You know.
it's St. Patrick's Day.
What's that?
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, yeah. What does that have to?
I have green socks on.
I'm not wearing green because St. Patrick's Day. I'm
You're
wearing,
not? Oh, I thought you told me.
No, I'm wearing green because I thought it looked good.
All right.
But
I'm wearing green because it's St. Patrick's Day.
okay.
My maiden name is O'Bannon.
Oh,
like,
well,
we roll deep.
yeah.
Irish, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mine's
question.
culture. It ain't close to Irish.
Anyways, let's get this started.
Focus.
Man. So tell us, how did you guys meet? How does it even start? When did you guys start training together?
Want me to start?
Yeah, it's all you.
Okay, so I had been going to the gym only for cardio purposes. Cardio only, treadmill girl, because I had lost a lot of weight. And finally, I had been too scared to ask for a coach because I didn't know what I was doing in the gym. Mm-hmm. So one day I was like, all right, well, today's the day. I don't know why. And I went up to the front desk at 24 Hour and said, hey, I want a trainer. And he was the only guy that was free. And so we got matched. And that was over 9 years ago, 2014. No.
It's approaching. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
about
crazy. December of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we've been together ever since. And trust me, we didn't start off powerlifting.
Okay, so how long did it take for you guys to start powerlifting?
Well, let me just set the stage. I was 39, and I had never been in the weight room in my life. So we had a lot of work to do just by not being scared of being in the weight room. And then a couple years in, I think we've been doing like dumbbell stuff or whatever. And then I said, hey, I want a deadlift. And he was like, you want to what? Because I had seen deadlifting on Facebook. I didn't know what deadlifting was, but I thought it looked cool, right? I was like, that girl looks tough. So I told him I wanted to do it, and here's what he said to me. We can't do that until you can show me you can hold a plank for 5 minutes. I was like, you're stupid. I'm not doing that. And then, sure enough, 2 weeks later, I did that. And so that's when we started deadlifting.
That sounds
So 2 years in.
That
You
sounds like
you said 2 years in?
2 years in.
2 years in, roughly.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That does. That sounds like something you say. It really does.
Why does that sound like something I would say?
Because of some of the things I hear you say, I kind of think you would put that challenge on.
So
That ain't easy.
It's not easy, but going back to what she said, she's never touched a weight until she was 39 years old, until we met. So she was 39 years old with pretty much zero functional strength training in her repertoire. So it was just cardio. So, and not just that, what do you do for work?
Sit.
You sit. How many
Computer
hours? Yeah,
all day.
on a computer
8 to 10
all day.
hours, yeah.
8 to 10 hours a day. So think about that. And how long have you been at 39, how long have you been at your job when you were 30, like 20 years at least?
Yeah.
So that's 20 years of her sitting, slouching a little bit forward. So the reason why I threw that challenge, everyone's all straight.
Sit up now.
So the reason why I threw that challenge out, I was like, all right, look, you've been in the sitting position for over 20 years. We've been training for 2 years. For me to fix that, I'm like, it's not going to be done perfectly. So how I approached it, I was like, if you can show me that your core is strong enough to withstand a 5-minute plank, then I'm going to have the confidence to teach you how to deadlift, because I'm a firm believer that I believe your core is one of the most important muscles when it comes to a deadlift. So, and because I knew that it wasn't something that her body was physically, like her anatomy wasn't really like slouching forward, shoulders. It was not meant to deadlift at that time. So I was like, all right, if your core is strong enough. And one of the things for the first 2 years of training her, what do you think I focused on the most?
Killing me?
Killed her, but I gave her a lot of different core routines. I always focused on her core and whatnot. So once she held that plank for 5 minutes, I was like, all right, let's go start deadlifting.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were starting from zero with
Yeah.
planks.
So it wasn't like she's never done planks.
Yeah.
In those 2 years, I was focusing a lot on her core and whatnot. So think about it, mother of two, wife, it's one of those things where I don't think exercising the way I was, programming for her was something she even knew how to do until she met me. So that's why, and I'm a firm believer that deadlift is not something you just pick up and do.
Yeah.
I mean, you could attest to it. There's a lot to it, right?
Well, I would rather tell you, why don't you try to bench, where I can kind of like spot you.
Yeah. Oh, you go somewhere where you can spot. Well, no, but
you can spot, but you can't be.
But powerlifting, it wasn't even powerlifting. Powerlifting wasn't. She just wanted to deadlift.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even powerlifting that crossed her mind. She just saw somebody on Facebook, and she just thought like, "Hey,
That looks cool.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
It's a deadlift." She didn't even know what powerlifting was, and I've never done a deadlift. I've done variations of like touchdowns and things. So I was like, "Oh, you want a deadlift?" I was like, "Okay, well, let's focus on this then. And if your core can show me that you can do 5 minutes of a plank, hey, let's throw it on there." And then that's how I kind of progressed her into the deadlift.
And mind you, the way we started was in the hallway, right? You remember that?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
so embarrassed because you're in 24 hour. There's like so many people walking by, right?
yeah.
Like self-conscious I was, of course. But anyway, so we're in the hallway and he had I don't even think it was a real barbell. It was like a curl bar or something.
It was a curl bar.
And it was just learning how to hip hinge, right? And so like I had my butt against the wall and how do you hip hinge? And so it was slow progression for
Yeah,
So
sure.
are you talking about conventional deadlift or sumo deadlift?
Conventional.
You never even do it.
Very interesting.
Long arms.
Because I feel like for most females, that's not really a common exercise that want to go for.
Deadlifts?
Yeah.
I didn't know any
Especially
better.
conventional.
No, it's not.
Right. So kind of going through that, like, I want to know what your mindset was like growing up. Like, do you have any previous sport experiences?
That's funny. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
No. So I was in band in high school. So that just sets the stage, right? You kind of know where we're going with it. So
Right.
never in athletics. And here's a good reason why. I was always afraid to fail. I'm good at academics, and I tend to approach things that I know I'm going to be good at. So if I don't think I'm going to be good at it, I won't do it. So powerlifting for me has been huge because I've learned that it's okay to fail. Like it's part of the process, right? And so it's not just lifting for me. Powerlifting spans so much, but one of the things is learning how to fail. So then I was overweight my whole life. So eventually, like in my 20s, I started to go into like a step class, right? And so I lost some weight, what have you. And then fast forward, I did a couple marathons, but I was still like run walk type of marathons, right? Or half marathons, I mean.
Was that like
3 half marathons?
Right?
Yeah, 13.1. Yeah. So we did 3 of those when I met my husband, 5Ks, that kind of stuff. And then I got hurt. I had plantar fasciitis, so I couldn't do my running anymore. And I was struggling mentally. And then we wanted to get pregnant, and I wasn't able to get pregnant. Mind you, like, I was 240 pounds at that point. So I went to Jenny Craig because I wanted to get pregnant. I figured losing weight could help, right? So I lost a ton of weight, but it was all about calorie management, right? So 1,500 calories a day. And that's why I was doing so much cardio. And then that's when I transitioned to, okay, I need a trainer because I want my body to look better, right? That was the impetus for it. Headphones.
Well, what they say is, in I think in all sports, that if you don't fail, that means you're not trying.
Yep, for sure.
And that's I use that phrase a lot. And that in trading,
What?
it's
If you're not failing, you're not trying.
watch on my liberal. I mean, when she's making this dude, I put the weight on and she failed. When she gets off, upset, and I go, hey, you never fail, and you're not trying. I tell her all the time, there's a good thing, a good thing. But the one thing I wanted to ask you, Miguel, all right, what advice would you give women out there that have that same issue you had about being scared to go ask, or going into a gym and being embarrassed? What advice would you give them to try to get them to understand, the process of getting in shape?
Yep. So 2 things. 1, life lesson, right? You never know unless you try. You have to be willing to make the attempt. Otherwise, you can't expect the result, right? So go out there and try it because you never know until you try. But secondly, I can tell you with 100% confidence that my life has changed when I found fitness because it helps me mentally, right? It helps ground me. Like, I'm not as stressed as I used to be. I can be a better mom. I can be a better wife. I can be a better friend, a better person. Like, seriously, getting in the gym for an hour a day clears my mindset, right? So that's 1. But then 2, the confidence that it's given me overall, because I know that no matter what comes at me today, I just lifted 400 plus pounds on a deadlift. Really? Bring it on, right? Like, nothing's going to stop me. And that type of confidence bleeds through everything that I do now. I'm such a different person today than I was before I started lifting. Like, it's insane. And so I wouldn't give it up for anything.
Well, I can tell you this for a fact that I know this. My lifter, she has great admiration for you.
Oh,
She sees you on Instagram. She tells me, man, you see Megan, you see how she lifted? And I said, see, it's not impossible.
that's part of it. Like,
It's not impossible to achieve that.
yeah.
And I tell her, I go, but you got to train, and you got to give your heart into your training, and you can achieve what you want. You can achieve whatever you go out to achieve.
That's that life lesson part, right? This is what I love about powerlifting. It's not just powerlifting, and this probably goes for any sport, right? It's not just powerlifting. But when you show discipline, commitment, tenacity, all of that, it's going to come, right? But you have to be willing to ride the wave. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and everything in between.
That's the wave she's riding
Yeah.
right now, trust me.
Yeah, and we've all been there, but the highs make up for all of those lows, right? You just got to be willing to stick with it. It's going to pay off. Trust me, I have those pep talks with myself all the time. It's just, how do you stick with it when it gets hard?
Well, yeah, it's I can understand in a lot of ways, what you go through, in the Masters. Open is one thing, but when you get into the Masters, your body has been affected in a lot of ways with your age. Because I don't care who you are, as you get older, your body declines. So you have to keep it up. You have to train. Especially in women, I think bone density is a factor in the woman. That, as they get older, their bones get softer. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways that you strengthen them is what?
Weightlifting, for sure.
Weightlifting,
Yeah, heavy weights, yeah.
It's weightlifting, and I think definitely, you're an inspiration to women, because What do you mean? Oh,
like really? Like,
It's true.
you know, because I think I'm an inspiration to seniors.
yeah.
You know, up in their 60s and 70s. You know, and
Because to them, they're your inspiration to me.
oh, now that requires a you know. Now Cisco says that, and then I'm like, oh my god,
I'm done with
I might have to get up. I might have to get up and get some air.
Shut the hell up.
You know, but no, I think as we get older, it gets tougher.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not so much about my body. I find that as I get older, you have more things pulling at you, right? Like I've got my kids, I've got my work. Oh, by the way, I've got stuff at home, right? You have more stuff. And so it's hard sometimes to make time to train, right? But it goes back to what do you prioritize? And lifting is on the top of my priority list, right? And so I make sacrifices elsewhere because that lifting is so important to me. And it's okay if it's not for somebody else. It's just, what do you prioritize? Because whatever you prioritize, you get it done.
Well, your coach and I, we had this discussion the other day about points, okay? And he was saying, well, you know, Megan, she tries to build up all her points and everything, and I told him, I was like, you know,
You mean the dots?
my lift,
Yeah, dots.
my lifter doesn't,
Which is a score.
she's not really in. I don't really focus on points for her right now, okay? Because she hasn't been tested.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't been tested. She hasn't had a challenge of somebody coming to her that lifts as much of her or more than her. She hasn't had that yet. She doesn't know what it's like to have that pressure put on her. So if I just kept putting her in competitions to gain dots and all that, I don't think I'm achieving what I need to achieve to when she gets to the big show. You've been doing this, what, 5 years? 4 or 5
We
years?
started in 2018.
Competitively?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years,
You've
yeah.
come across competition.
Not much though, because here's
I know in Masters it's not a lot.
especially in my weight class.
But, yeah,
it's very rare that
And then when you've been into the nationals, and that's when your competition really comes out. You know, because you get challenged at that point.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not to the max, but you do get challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you understand what pressure is.
To a degree, I wouldn't say that when I go to those big events that it's pressure per se. It's more like just being on that level of stage. It's not so much the person standing next to me that's the pressure. It's the total environment that's the pressure, right? Like there's 3 platforms at that point. There's however many hundreds of people in the audience. Oh, by the way, it's live streamed. Like that's the pressure, right? But every day, I'm not going out trying to increase my dots per se. I'm going out trying to lift the best I can to be the best that I can be. Because every time I have a meet, as long as I can increase where I was last time, it's a win, right? Like check that box.
Right.
I know what the national records are. I know what the state records are. And by all means, I want to take them. But that's my goal because that person's not standing next to me. They set that record 3 years ago, right? And so how am I constantly pushing myself to be better? But more importantly, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better than I was 6 months ago?
You know, so
that's my goal.
So that's crazy because hearing all of that right now, I think that comes from Megan not really being in sports at a young age. You really weren't like in any competitiveness.
Does band count?
The band doesn't count.
We have competitions,
I mean, you
but
get-
it's different.
Yeah,
It's different.
you guys compete, but it's not like it's not like if I look at it because I kind of understand what Mike is saying too. Is that I will always remember my favorite competition was our first nationals. It's just to me it felt as a coach. My athlete was competing because like that's when we had okay, cool. So I kind of get what you're getting at, Mike, but I think it was us growing up with more of a competitive nature at the moment. Yeah.
She just started. She's 2 years into it, and she's had 2, but there was no competition.
Oh, you're a lifter, right?
So-
you're a lifter.
Yeah, I feel you know, what is she like when that pressure comes? Can she handle it? Can she stay focused?
Yeah.
You know, so that's like, and I tell her, you know, she was, you know, talking about, you know, the nationals are coming up, and I tell her, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the nationals right now. You need to find out, can you handle that? Mm-hmm. You need to find out, if someone challenges you, can you step up? Mm-hmm. I go, because you don't know how to step up right now.
Yeah.
And so...
Even watching my kids play baseball, there's a difference between practice and being on the field, right? Like you can be great in practice all day long, but if you melt down because of the environment and the quote unquote pressure, like that's a mental game.
It is.
So how do you work on your mental game? trust me,
Yeah,
it's a work.
I know she's strong. I can look and see,
Oh, for
you're strong.
sure, yeah.
But I ask myself all the time, is she mentally strong to handle that kind of pressure? Because she's, the Metroplex is coming up, the 90 roster.
Uh-huh.
She's in that.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I'm going to really find out, and I tell her, we're going to find out, mentally what you're made of. Mm-hmm. And she,
Can I just tell you, my hands are sweaty just like you setting that stage. Like, I get nervous.
well, that's the closest,
And she's not even doing it.
you know what? I think that's the closest to the Nationals. Right there.
If it's a 90 roster, yeah, I think because there's not many around here that genuinely have.
Sometimes I was gonna say they run 2 platforms. So yeah.
So that's the closest she's gonna get until she's in it.
Yeah.
So I do feel she needs to know that feeling.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that when Megan wanted to start powerlifting, I've never coached anybody. So me and her went into this sport not knowing anything.
Yep.
And the first powerlift competition was Metroplex in Long Beach that we did. We didn't know anything. I just made sure it was like, hey, let's just complete the lifts. Let's just complete the lifts and anything like that. And throughout the years, it's something that me as the coach was learning. All right, cool. Now it's like we go to a competition. It's like, well, you've seen me at a competition too. It's like, all right, boom. It's like, yeah. But it's crazy because it's one of those things that going into, we did not know any better. We didn't know, if it was a 45 roster competition, a 90 roster competition, we just showed up. Oh, I guess we're on the red platform. Oh, we're over there on that side.
Like, what does warm up look like?
What does warm up look like? So I think that kind of benefited both of us too, with like learning together. And it's just like, I just always made sure with her is that the competitive there with somebody else wasn't her thing, but the competitive with herself was a priority.
Yeah.
So I always just made sure to match that. I'm gonna match that. All right, cool. You're competing against yourself. And I think that helped her as an athlete, like zone out the competition and just stay focused. And I still love it till this day. My favorite lift of hers is always the deads. If you always see her doing deads, she is just stone cold quiet in the zone. It's like, I always joke with her, it's like that Mamba mentality. Like, she's just like Kobe, just tap in, and that's where I think it's the benefit of me as a coach to have an athlete like, hey, zone everything out. What numbers you gotta hit it yourself. Where it's one of those where another athlete that I help out is Hendo. We all know Hendo. I help him out. I feel like he is more of the, I got to do better than that guy. I got to do better than that guy, and I was like, yeah, you do. So it's like, I think that's us as our coach. We got to adapt to our athletes, especially the day up.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. After that, Lee, I go through it, with her. Every time I train her, she's needs a, I'm always telling her, you got to focus. Mm-hmm. She does one thing wrong, I stop. She goes, what did I do wrong? I said, you did this, Then I had to start videotaping her, showing her, hey, you're not locked in, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Sometimes we sit there and have an argument, discussing it. So I hit the video and I said, see what I said? You didn't do this, your head's not up, this and that. But, after 2 years, she's picked up the technique for him. And, she does a sumo. Mm-hmm. She was conventional, but I looked at her and I said, when you're a sumo made, because I think when you do 2 different deadlifts, your body's made for that lift. And I think in the sumo, if you got really, really, really strong quads and hip flexors and stuff, I think the sumo will play better. Where if you're conventional, your hamstrings play a major factor in your lift. It's your back, and I think a person that I would say a little bit taller will play better for a conventional versus a lifter that's a little bit shorter might, to me, play a little bit better in sumo.
Yeah, traditionally people that are taller have longer arms too. So conventional.
So I said, we're going to do conventional, we're going to do sumo, and you're going to pick which one it was. And I swear, I thought she was going to pick conventional.
I did too. I honestly thought your lifter was going to pick conventional.
And she picked sumo. I was like, well, are you sure? She goes, yeah. She goes, I feel better. And that means a lot when you're lifting.
Yep.
How you feel.
For sure. For sure.
If you feel uncomfortable, boom, that's not, you're not going to really adjust to it, I think.
Yeah.
And everything.
Kind of reminds me of like when you were talking about coach relationship, right, with your lifter, like that relationship, having you with me on the platform, like I know a lot of lifters don't have the capability to have their coaches with them on day of. Like I don't know that I could do it without him there.
Oh.
I probably should try just for my own confidence, but having him there with me, even training, right? Like knowing that he's just as vested as I am in my personal success. I always say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that on the platform, because I feel like we're doing it together, even though I'm the one lifting, right? But that relationship is so critically important. And I know you have that with your lifter too. And Kael, I know you have that with your clients too, even though they're not out there on the platform per se, but that relationship with your coach is so critical.
I'll accept the first competition, right, Cisco?
I'll accept for the first competition.
But I think the first competition, you always have problems. Because I was competing in her competition at the same time.
But that's only two.
Yeah, and I had my time, and I left her alone. For the evening deadlift.
She wasn't alone. She had Cisco.
Cisco stepped in.
I stepped in, but I was like, "Well, Mike." Well, I was like,
y'all figured it out.
But after that, she now realizes how important a coach and a trainer is.
Oh yeah.
She tells me all the time. She goes, I didn't have you with me. I don't know what I do.
And that's the thing, I see people trying to do it on their own. And it doesn't matter if it's powerlifting, right? It could be as simple as, hey, I want to, do CrossFit. I want to do whatever it is to build up strength, right? Without a coach, without somebody to help you, one, understand where you're going and help you plan, because most of us have no idea what we're doing, or you have some idea, but then they also make you better. To your point, like, hey, I saw you did X, Y, or Z on that lift. I need you to tweak this because you're going to whatever. Like having that person to point it out in you, and then also having that person to help pick you up when you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like there's so much that goes into having a coach, regardless of how much experience you have, right?
Coaches is extremely important. We're all personal trainers, and I think all of our clients look to us, to guidance and stuff, and
even the best athletes in the world still have a coach.
Oh yeah.
Like,
coaches extremely.
Coaches need coaches too.
Yeah, exactly. We're people too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do want to piggyback off of that though. So in terms of like Cisco's perspective as your coach, how was it training her first in the beginning versus now, and like how has she evolved throughout the years of you training her?
Oh my God!
From your perspective,
how has she evolved? It's totally different because obviously it's a different style too. So when we first met, she wanted to tone up and get ready for her 10-year anniversary in Hawaii, right? Yeah, and it was more just toning. So it was a lot of more just total body exercise, weightlifting, and whatnot. And then when we progressed, the workouts kept getting harder and harder. And then not just that, the way how I programmed her, I literally programmed her for the whole month. I would program her, I would set up a whole calendar, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she knew what she had to do, all the other days, everything was set for her to just follow. And it was one of those things where it's like, all right, this month we did the stairs, next month we're going to do the treadmill on your cardio days, but these are the weight things that we're going to do. Then when we got into powerlifting, we just threw cardio out of the window, and it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, we gotta strengthen your lifts. We gotta strengthen your triceps to make sure your push is getting better. We gotta strengthen your quads to make sure your squats are getting better. It's just like, all right. So then it literally went from she was doing weights 3 times a week before to now she's doing weights every day. And so,
by choice, not because you told me to. Yes.
Was there any pullback in the beginning? Like if you were to tell her something, she's like,
There still is.
Yes, there still is. I mean, it's one of those things every time, like when she was just trying to tone up, she would always pull back like, hey, why am I doing this? I was like, well, because your body got used to doing this last month. We got to switch it up to do this, for this. And then now that we're doing powerlifting, she always, I program every block now with her. So we got like our 4-week block, and I will program it out, and I'll adjust as we go. But she's all like, why am I doing this?
Last week? Yeah. Why am I hitting my...
Oh, yeah, last week. Last week was her deload, which is deload, you take it off. And I literally told her, all right, just hit your opener for squats. That's your squat workout. She's like, I just squatted 358 pounds last week, and you want me to hit 319 this week? And I literally responded, you literally are only doing 4 reps of squats, each a single with a 4-minute rest. This squat workout should take you no more than 20, 30 minutes. That's your deload. It's just hit your opener and you're done for the day. And trust me, I love training her more for deload, because I can tell those are like, it's painful for her. She doesn't want to just, she's done. She's like, you know, if she pushes back.
It's hard to rest.
It's hard to rest for her.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And not just that too, it's one of those, like I said, now she's lifting every day by her choice. I still tell her, you need to take a day off. So I've literally programmed for her where it's like, she does it more to stay grounded. Like as you mentioned earlier, like, hey, my 1 hour of working out helps me, you know, stay grounded, release stress. So who am I to take that away from her, right? It's like, all right, if that helps you, then me as a coach, I've literally even programmed her like, all right, on this day, you're going to do this. That way it doesn't interfere with what you did 2 days ago. That way it doesn't interfere, because now it's like, one day we just focus on squat, one day bench, one day deads, one day bench. So right now we hit bench 3 times a week because that is her weakest lift, but also her body type recovers quickly out of benching. So it's like, all right, that's the only thing you're going to do 3 times a week, but everything else I completely isolate, and I have it spaced out so she's not really like hitting that same muscle group and whatnot. And it's also balancing in her lifestyle too. She doesn't have a time to go in and spend, you know, 2 hours every day at the gym. She's got 2 kids that are all-stars in baseball now. She takes them to one field one day, and then 10 minutes after dropping off one on one field, she's got to go to the other side of take them to that and be at both games. And then not just that, she's at home cooking for the whole family. Work. She wakes up, she works 5 a.m. till 2 p.m. because she's on East Coast time. So she's always constantly busy. So me, it's like her evolving from day one to day now has made my job very easy, because now it's like, all right, now I can isolate your workouts like this and not, you know, overtrain you. And so, and trust me, we still push back on rest day, because I'm a firm believer that you should do 1 day of nothing or rest. But hey, like I said, if it's something that she does to stay grounded, to help her out with her stress, who am I to take that away from her? So I got to work around that and program around that so it doesn't interfere with the main priority of her workouts.
Right. That's really good. As a coach, you can kind of just really adjust to her needs like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, no, you're not supposed to work out. Like,
No.
Oh, gosh.
work with it.
And trust
You know, if
me.
you would have explained that to me when we talked about it, I might have understood.
Now you.
'Cause I didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Well, nobody does. Like, nobody would go out and say, train 7 days a week.
I go 4 days a week, 2 to 3 hours training.
Yes.
You
Same
know?
amount of time. Like if you take the hours that you do and the hours that I do, it's the same.
Yeah.
But see,
It's how you spread it out. Yeah.
I do deloading and I do this and that, and I'm like, I just train. Period.
Getting all fancy.
Yeah.
When you get close to the competition, then I cut it back. That's how he's like, well, I do this, I do this, and I don't.
But that's part of what we've learned too, because that's how we used to roll, right? And then I realized my body would hit a hard wall, and it would tell me, okay, too much. Well, now instead of waiting and reacting, we're proactive in planning that, right?
Because the stress builds up. If you keep progressing and progressing,
Your body can only do
body's
so
just
much.
going to catch up to that and be like, oh, my
For sure.
God.
Now, see, if you would have explained it to me like that, well, you don't, she leaves got 2 kids, she has this, she has that, and that. We have to really cut it up and make it so that we get our training in, but she has that time to do that. You know, I would probably say.
My longest workouts are Sundays because I have the time. So I spent, an hour and 45 today?
Mm-hmm.
But every other day, I'm in and out. Like squats on Monday, an hour. Deadlifts, an hour. Bench, maybe an hour and 15. Like, that's it, right? Because I don't have that time. But when you asked about the evolution, I'm surprised you didn't hit on this. Like, so you talked about more about like coaching and programming. And
I was
all
kind
that.
of trying to go with some
The mental.
mindset. Yeah.
Here's
Here's
what's different for me, and you'll resonate. This will
Okay,
resonate
I want to
with you.
hear what's
Okay.
different from you.
So, in the beginning, especially, I would get so disappointed and frustrated if I couldn't match what he programmed. I thought something was wrong with me. I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough today. Like, what's wrong? Like, to the point where I would cry out of frustration, right? And so now I still cry sometimes.
Yeah.
But I also understand that it's not because I'm not strong enough. It's not because his program was off or I'm just not good enough. It's because it's the natural evolution. Like, this is just how it happens, right? This is part of training.
Yeah.
You might have a great day and you did everything right. You slept, you ate, you were a rock star yesterday, and today you come in and you try to hit it and it's just not there. Okay, next. Like, it's part of the process.
So you're less hard on yourself now.
For sure.
Or more
I feel
understanding
like I'm a more mature lifter now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like
That's true. That's true. That's true. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it was there'd be times when I think she was hitting a hard block, and I think she was just not. I felt like you were just not understanding, and it was just like, oh, and I'm like, all right, and then I think that was years ago. I think of that. Now it's like you said. Now we've learned how her body works. We learned when her body hits that wall. So it's like, all right, let's not even get near there. It's like, all right, look, I could tell by the way you lifted today. It's been already, 4 weeks of heavy strength that we've been doing. I'm like, your body's starting to get a little tired. Or next week is deload.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
I see it when my lifters is working training so hard for the last 2 weeks, and all of a sudden she's making very careless mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And how do you feel? I feel fine. I will make these mistakes for you. Things that you know you can do and you do every single time. But why today? And I'm tired.
Or the coach becomes your therapist. Like, we tease about that all the time because it's like, okay, what else is going on outside of this?
Right, 100%.
House stuff going at home? Housework?
It is because I do the same thing. I like wait, did you have a problem with the boyfriend? Is everything going on good?
Well, I didn't want to say.
Yeah, made me mad. When I'm like, oh God, I'm thinking.
And sometimes days when we're mad are the best days, right?
Yeah.
How do we channel that?
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's one of those where. I mean, I could see when days are very flustered in her. And then I'll be like, hey, let's channel it. The program wasn't for you to go heavy today, but you just deadlifted 375 for 5 reps, and that looked very easy. Let's add some more to it. You got something in you right now. Let's take advantage of it. And I do that for multiple reasons. I do it, A, to make sure it helps out with her stress. She's obviously got a lot. She's releasing it through the weight. But B, I don't think I've ever told you this. I do it to show you that you are able to still go strong and heavy after you've done something that was originally thought to be heavy. Does that make sense? So then it was like, and we've done that multiple times when you've done a lot of volume leading up. And I think that one day where, hey, let's just put 403 pounds on there. Hey, let's put 408 pounds. Like, you literally, and I think you did 403 pound deadlift for 3 reps. And that wasn't even on the agenda that day. I was like, she's moving good. I was like, hey, let's put another 10 kilos on there let's put another 5 kilos on there. So now she's doing 418. Gets it up like nothing. All right. You know what? Let's try 428, 429. Gets it up like nothing. I do that more to show you as well, like, hey, we did a lot of work leading up to this and you did that. So there shouldn't be any lack of confidence that you can't lift that. So that's why it's one of those where it's like, all right, if I can show you that you've done this after building up to it, on the day of the platform, it should be a cakework, you know? So it's more of like kind of analyzing, see how they are for the day. If there's something in there that I can use to, sometimes I'll go off script to just do it more for your head case, your confidence in your head case.
Well, I still struggle with imposter syndrome. We talk about this all the time. Like, I look and see, okay, I have a world record in my deadlift, right? But I still show up to nationals and I'm like, am I good enough to be here? Like, have you seen these people? Right?
Define imposter syndrome.
What's imposter syndrome?
What is imposter syndrome? For the people who don't know.
Well, in my mind, it's thinking that, you don't belong. Like, I don't think that I'm good enough to be here. That's how I interpret it, right? Like, everything would show me, my numbers in training, my results on the platform, everything would say that I earned my spot, right? But I still show up thinking, like, maybe I got here by accident. Like, I really wasn't supposed to be here. They made a mistake on the roster, right? Like, that's how I feel. And I have to constantly combat that. And that's not just with lifting, like, that's in life. I struggle with that a lot. And so lifting has helped me through that, but it doesn't go away. Like, I still have to reframe my mindset to be like, no, you earned it. You're here for a reason. You're more than capable. Like, all of these things that I have to play over and over in my head, because otherwise it could overwhelm me and I would going back to fear of failure,
Right.
I would go back to, no, not good enough, not going to try, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have to make a deliberate attempt to overcome that imposter syndrome.
You can't get overconfident.
Oh, that's
You can't. Even you make that lift over and over and over. And next time you may not make that lift
I know.
because you feel I can hit it. I always hit it I hit it all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know what to do. I know what to do. You go in and you set up, boom, you don't hit it. Then you lose that confidence. Boom, what happened? If you don't focus on what you're doing, you're probably not going to hit the lift, even if you hit it at practice, training. If you're not focused on it, you're not going to hit it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got to have all your points in line
Yep.
when you're doing it. And,
We talk about too, like the difference between males and females, right? Like if you go back to that example between Hendo and me, right? Like in general, if we just hit a solid lift, right? And he'll be like, okay, 5 more kilos on the bar. And I'll be like, what? We can't do that. Are you kidding me? Like that was a struggle, blah, blah, blah. Versus males oftentimes will be like, throw 10 on there. I can do that, right? Like I tend to underestimate my abilities, and that may be more in line with what a lot of females do versus in general, right? Males we've seen tend to overestimate their abilities, right? And so it's just an interesting dynamic, and it's not a one size fits all, but in general, you have to approach typically a female different than a male, right?
very much. I think that's spot on, because I feel like it's funny. And maybe you being 50 years in the game, I've been doing this for 15 years. I always joke about it, but I've always seen more males getting injured in the workout floor than females.
oh, yeah. You got
Right? And I feel like males, and both of you guys can stop me if I'm wrong or anything like that, but there's a lot of ego lifting involved when we lift. And by all means, I tore my meniscus, I was like just squatting and I'm like, what the hell?
Because you do stupid stuff.
Yes. And so, but to me, it's one of those things where the weight room is like, that's a great place of like, add some more, anything like that. Where I think, her perspective is from a female's perspective, like, no, I just did that. I can't do 10 more pounds. No. And us, we like, yes, you can. I just saw how your body moved. We're throwing it out there. I think that dynamic is a great balance for us, because it's one of those things where it's like, she always laughs when I send her maybe a program. She's like, yeah, right. And I'll be like, no, you're going to do that to the T. I just saw what you did a couple of days ago. You're going to do that to the T. Even I gave her a bench workout this morning. And I'm pretty sure she rolled her eyes when she saw it. She was like,
Yeah, that's more than we did Thursday, and I struggled.
Yeah. And how was the workout today?
Really good.
It was good. Exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like that we balance each other out in that aspect. And I think that's very common. And that's one thing that I think is always fun to see, the male and the female dynamic, especially when it comes to working out.
I don't know. My husband, she's like, I can do more.
See, but like I said, we're not saying all.
Do it again.
Yeah. Well,
Let me do it again. I go, no, you missed it twice. I'll get it on this third one. Come on now. You're not hitting it today, but tomorrow's another day, or 2 days is another day. Go back and find out what went wrong, and we work on it. But she wants to do it again. She wants to do it again.
yeah.
So I don't know if it's a male ego thing. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't have it.
Well, yeah, because you're 66. You probably had Like, did you have
67?
67?
4 more months. I'm 67.
So, but like when you were in your 20s and your 30s.
20s and the 30s.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Especially surrounded
at that
by
time
other
I felt I can lift the building.
See?
And I have to go back to that now when I'm lifting. When I was benching 450 and stuff like that when I was 20, 22, 23. Coming back to now, I can barely do a plate. And it's the body has relatively, I tell people, I go, everybody has cartilages. And you keep lifting heavy, then it's going to push it down.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have any. And, that's in my case, I have no cartilage in my shoulders at all. So I can't bench. It's very painful. But at the same time, if you're going to live for a long period of time in your life, when you get older, you better expect a lot of things to go wrong.
That's happens.
You know, I'm not trying to scare you, Arnie.
I'm not scared. Well, I think there's a lot more focus on recovery now, right, than there might have been 20 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
So recovery's better now.
Yeah, we definitely spend time with recovery.
I think there are certain vitamins and things like that. Like I probably take collagen, probably take about 5-6 scoops a day. Hoping
Yeah.
that it gives me some relief, and it does.
I definitely do a deep tissue every month.
See that's so crazy. What we just talked about right now was a definitely generational thing.
Yeah.
Because we're literally right. We said ego lifting right away. Me and Kael said yes. You were like, I don't ego lift, and that's the difference in generations. You've been here a little bit longer and whatnot. And I feel like another thing too. She just mentioned it. Recovery. 20 years ago, recovery wasn't as
Stay home.
Yeah. Stay home. It wasn't as studied as it is. Like she gets now a deep tissue massage. She should be getting it at least every 5 weeks, but I don't know.
I do.
Yeah.
You know what? A deep tissue massage is definitely one of the remedies you need when you're lifting in bodybuilding or powerlifting.
Yeah.
Okay. It definitely is. Deep tissue massage is really the massage you got to go to, because you got to get someone that's going to drive deep in there.
It's 2 hours.
And not
She gets a 2-hour one. I was like, man.
So it is important, as you're working out more and more. It's definitely important. I tell my client, hey, I'm gonna get a massage. I go, we're gonna get a massage, get a deep tissue massage.
Yep.
And he's been getting it, and he's been coming back. He's 71. And he's been like, man, I can lift and it doesn't hurt anymore and everything. And he's had a hip replacement and a knee replacement.
Yeah.
But he gets a deep tissue massage twice a week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
It makes a huge difference, but damn, twice a week.
yeah,
I'm jealous.
I know, man's got money.
And a high pain threshold.
Yeah.
Because those don't necessarily feel the best, but
They feel
so good.
amazing.
I know, whatever.
I take a nap whenever I get a deep tissue massage. I love it. It's my god.
I know, right? Like,
It might not be going deep enough for you.
No,
it's
dude,
just
they
weird
are,
like that.
bro.
Yeah, my mom was actually a sports massage therapist, so I think that was my deep tissue massage. So it might be a little bit of both,
Yeah.
She's like digging into me. She's like,
remember what you said last night?
Remember when you were 11 years old?
exactly, So
I'm gonna have to go check mama out. Man, because
He's been holding back.
I don't get deep tissue massage.
Oh man,
got you.
I do a lot
You
of
got
stretching. I do a lot of stretching, and I stretch my lifter.
Yeah.
I stretch her for half an hour before she starts and half an hour after she ends.
Yeah.
And stuff. But she will probably. I'm probably gonna tell her to go get a deep tissue.
Yeah.
Because
Those knots
stretching is
you didn't
good,
know? Yeah.
but deep tissue is just that's a
Oh
next
my gosh.
level.
They always find something. I'm like,
Yeah.
how did you know
Yeah.
that was there?
That's their job.
Yeah, they can get to the areas that you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I was thinking all the time, man, I don't need deep tissues. Yeah, my client's 71. He's like, man, you need to get deep tissues. Great, So I've been thinking, like, maybe I should go get one.
Especially the more muscle you build, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna
for
get
sure.
tighter.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's the beauty about the benefits of studies that have shown recovery is such a big thing, man. Like I said, because who knows? I mean, if you would have had these recovery studies back in the 90s, I mean, maybe you'd be no worry with no shoulder and full cartilage. I don't know, right? We don't know the longer. I don't think so, to be honest. But who knows? Yeah, I don't think so either.
A lot of people, they don't. When I say I've been lifting for 50 years, I've been lifting for 50 years. And I never really took breaks in my lifetime. If I worked, I still went to the gym. If I didn't work, I went to the gym. Sometimes I would go 6 days a week. Sometimes I go 5 days a week. But in my life, I've never stopped lifting.
Yeah.
Just never, since I was 15. You just have that itch to do something. You love something so much, that you just constantly do it. But there's a lot of bodybuilders that have been lifting and powerlifters that I even know that have arthritis and things like that, And I do have some forms of arthritis, like in my foot and stuff like that. But it's gonna happen.
Well, I think that's the benefit of the coach too. Like he shuts me down before I'll go too far, right? Like, knock on wood, I've never been hurt, right?
Yeah.
And we've been doing this competitively for 6 years, and so I think that's where the coaching, the programming, all of that comes into.
Injuries play a major factor. I've had a lot of injuries. I've had My rotator cuff is been torn. It's still partially torn.
Yeah, we bump into a lot of people in this sport that have that common injury.
It happens,
Athletics in general,
Yeah,
right?
Athletics in general, especially
Baseball,
beginning
basketball,
stages, too.
football, like any of that, right? Because you drive your body so hard. But I think that's the beauty of individual sports too, is like I'm competing against myself, and maybe this is my own mindset,
Yeah,
right?
talk
But
about
like
your mindset.
if I can't do it, I'm gonna take a step back, regroup until I can do it, right? I'm still gonna push myself, don't get me wrong. But it's not like a team is relying on me right now. Like this is all about me doing my best. And if I need to take a step back and recover so I can be my best, it's okay to do that, right?
Let your
It's a
body.
lot of self-reflection for you to drive improvement.
And I did
I
look
think
at
that comes from imposter syndrome, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you have imposter syndrome, then it kind of humiliates. It keeps you humble and not complacent to where it's like, all right, if I'm thinking this way, what can I do to feel better and get better?
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
So in a sense, imposter syndrome can be a good thing for someone.
Yeah, it's a good balance, right? Because like you said, it keeps you humble, but at the same time, too much of it is going to keep you stuck.
Yeah.
So how do you make that balance? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do look at you in the gym sometimes. I look at this guy because what I do, I flash back and I go, man, I remember when I was that old.
Or that young.
I mean, I remember when I was that young, and I look at Kyle working out, and I remember when I was that young.
Yeah, look good.
And then I go, then I walk away, and I go, if only he knows. Only he knows what happens when you get up there in age and you keep doing this.
But I don't think that's an inevitable. Like I see, plenty of people that are older, right? They look amazing, and not all of them are limping along, right? Like there's a balance, and it's how do you incorporate all of the things that
All the aspects.
I don't
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean. It was a metaphor.
I walk slow.
Why'd you make that face? Let's go.
I walk slow.
Yeah.
I walk slow.
But I don't want people listening to this thinking like, oh, if I keep doing X, Y, or Z in the gym,
No,
I'm gonna
definitely
get
not. You
hurt,
just have to
right?
know your
Like,
priorities.
but-
One of the priorities is the mobility and stretching work and the things to
recovery.
Yeah,
Know your body.
like you said, me. You got to make sure you hit all aspects of it and whatnot. And some aspects you'll hit better than others, but as long as you know you're hitting your weights, you got at least your cardio days for the heart. You got your recovery days.
Your rest, your
nutrition.
nutrition.
Your rest, nutrition.
Yeah.
You don't got to hit them all perfectly, but if you're hitting them all, you'll be set better than the average person for sure.
Don't skip out on
Yeah.
the small stuff.
No, I didn't say everybody's gonna be like.
No, I know.
We just want to clarify.
He's all, I didn't say everyone's gonna be like
I didn't
me.
say that because I now believe that in my situation, in my position, I'm a little different.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for so long.
You just praised for my downfall.
But I think a lot of the average people, a lot of the average people that pick up working out is great for them.
Mm-hmm.
And as they get older, it's even better for them.
Yeah.
Especially when you get in upper age and they're seniors and stuff, exercising is extremely important.
For sure.
Extremely good for you. So it's not like you're gonna be like me. You're gonna walk around limping and no, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to promote it.
No, you're doing a good job, Mike. Like I said, even before we started recording, what I asked you before when we started recording.
What was that?
I mean, how many pills do you take a day? Or
I'm only take one.
you only take a blood pressure one, right?
That's right. That's all I take.
And the reason why I brought it up because while we were waiting, I'm all like, I've been noticing like people over the age of even 50, they come out with their their pill box for the week. And they open one and there's multiple ones or anything like that. And to me, I was telling Mike, I'm like, nah, dude, you're a walking testament that you don't do that. I mean, you're 66 years old, you're moving around, you're strong. But at the same time, like, once again, me complimenting you, you're doing a hell of a job of not being, on a routine where you have to pop something to keep you going or anything like that. And to me, I think that's a very huge benefit once you're getting older because I've seen it with some of my clients that, hey, I'm taking high blood pressure medicine, I'm taking this medicine, this vitamin, all these things. And one of my biggest accomplishments is when they tell me, doctor said I'm off. Doctor said I'm good. I was like, all right, keep it going. So I think it's one of those things that when you're pushing people to work out, it's not just also how you move. I mean, it's also everything going on. So it's like an overall health thing. Mm-hmm. That's what I think it is.
So coming to the end of the podcast, what are your words for women out there that want to get into everything, weightlifting, training, and exercising, regardless of what it is, gardening, whatever, what is your advice to them?
Find your passion and don't be afraid to try. Like, it could be anything, to your point. It could be gardening. Find your thing. Everybody needs something, right? That thing that gets you excited, that thing that makes you want to get out and do something, right? So find your thing and don't be afraid to try. You never know unless you try. And it's okay to try and not be great at it, right? Just keep going. There's nothing holding you back but yourself.
At least you tried.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots
You don't take 100.
So,
Yep.
might as well take it.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm good. Like I said, as your coach, you make me very, very proud. I am very happy for the way you've evolved from day 1 to year 9. And we're still going.
Not done yet.
We're not done. We're definitely not done yet.
Big goals.
We got big goals. We got big things. Our next competition is in June.
June 26th.
June 26th is she'll be competing at Nationals in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely have our goals that we're trying to hit. I'm excited. I'm pumped for this. Right now we're it's pretty much 15 weeks till we get there.
14 and a half.
14 and a
Who's
half.
counting?
Yep. Who's counting? So I'm excited for the ride. Like I said, my main thing is anytime you get on the platform, you have no idea how happy and how proud I am knowing that you came from, I'm gonna say it, fat girl at the side of the pool.
They don't know that
They
story.
don't know
but yeah.
that story to now being that strong, thick, and pretty woman on the platform.
Aw, thanks, coach.
See, so I
Wouldn't
got
do
you.
it without you.
There you
Yeah.
go. See.
Well, you've been a bit of inspiration to my lifter.
Aw.
You have been, and she tells me all the time, don't take an offense to this because I want to catch Megan.
Oh my gosh, she's going to surpass me. Are you
wanna
kidding
catch
me?
her. I want to catch up to her, and I understand what she's saying because what you're doing is you're making her see that it's possible that you could do this. That's what you're making her see.
Aw.
And I can see her expression, when she sees your Instagram, she's looking at you and she goes, I want to lift as much as Megan. I want to do this, and I told her in time.
She will. And she's going to do more than me.
Yeah, in
She's
time.
28 years old.
Yeah, in time. I told her in time it's gonna happen.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you can't rush perfection. I tell her all the time you can't. So we take it step by step. But
As you should.
Then have been an
That's good.
inspiration to her, so that's a plus for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but this is the end of our podcast here.
Yes, sir.
And it was great having you, Megan.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you shed a lot of light on women out there that exercising is not out of reach,
No.
And I'm
Starts with
hoping,
your mindset.
yeah,
For sure. For sure.
and I'm hoping they took all that in and enjoyed our interview with you. But this is the end of 3Gs.
Mm-hmm. Coach Cisco.
Coach Kael.
Coach Michael, and we'll see you on our next episode that will be coming up.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Boom.